Good morning, everyone. It is another glorious day. It is Tuesday, November 7th, 2023. It's 8:30 a.m. right here in the Old Pueblo, Tucson, Arizona, which means it's time for our mindful moment. I'm Dr. Jonathan Zenz. I am the senior minister, the spiritual leader at Unity of Tucson, a loving and inclusive spiritual center right here in the desert. And what a delight it is to share this opportunity this morning with you. So what is the mindful moment? The mindful moment is the opportunity that we can all take. It's the opportunity that I take to engage in the consideration of a spiritual idea and also the practice of affirmative prayer. And clearly my cat agrees with me if you can hear him in the background. And I do this every single weekday because it is an opportunity for me to maintain a consistency in my own spiritual practice. And I share that with you. Because what I have found is that consistency in my spiritual practice has enhanced the quality of my life. And so that's why I do this. Whether you're watching live or on the replay, I would love for you to post a comment. Let me know that you are here. Let's see who is checking in so far this morning. Oh, and by the way, I'm at home. I'm home. I made it back from Los Angeles. Ow, just whacked I whacked my rings into my knuckle. It's live, folks. This is what you get. Let's see who is here. Good morning from Anita. Grateful to see you, Anita, over on Facebook. Mirta, grateful you made it. Yes, good morning to you. Elaine, good morning to you watching on YouTube. And Roberta, welcome home. Jay-Z, you got this. Yes, I do. So do you. We all got this. Keep those comments coming through. I do want to offer this reminder, though, and it is to say this. You are love. You are light. You are life. You are magnificent. I'm so grateful. Grateful that you shine your light and share your magnificence. So today, I have had this thought. What kind of came through to me is, don't groan and just go with me on this for a moment, because one of the things that I am aware of is that things happen in the world. I don't know if you know that things happen in the world, like beyond my vision, like beyond my immediate vicinity and surroundings. There are things that are happening all over the world. And I see people have a lot of opinions about those things that happen all over the world. And we see those opinions a lot in social media. We see a lot of opinions on what is purported to be news programming about things that are happening. And we see a lot of contradictions that seem to be expressing themselves. And today, what I wanted to mention is that in spirituality, there are contradictions. There are contradictions in spirituality. We call them paradoxes. And, I think part of the spiritual path, especially for us ministers, for those of us who are ministers, we ministers are in the practice of engaging in these conversations with each other to mostly talk about contradictions. Now, we call them paradoxes, two things that can be true at the same time that seem to contradict each other, right? And so, as I observe the world and see that there are paradoxes happening in the world, I have trouble sometimes, and I'm going to invite you to look at your own life. Do you have trouble sometimes? Finding a resolution in your own heart around what to think about these things that have contradictory ideas, but both can be true? I'm just waiting for a moment to see if something comes up for you. You don't have to put a response in the comments, but I just want you to just get in touch and see what's coming up for you, because there are contradictions, there are paradoxes. An example of a paradox would be, I am God and God is all there is. Both things true. Both things true. How do I reconcile that? Well, I'm not claiming to be the allness of God, and yet the allness of God is something I have access to. How about you? check in with that for a moment. I think we need to, this is my work. I think what I'm choosing to do is to release my assuredness around certain things and be willing to see what else is available in understanding. I can get pretty strong-headed. I don't know if you know that about me. I can get pretty strong-headed. Some of you have experienced my being strong-headed. And yet it is a great spiritual practice to step back, to listen, and to consider perhaps an alternative idea. In fact, I think it's one of the best practices that we can engage in, to consider alternative ideas. Now, there's some ideas that can be pretty readily dismissed out of hand. If someone tells me that the sky is red, that may be true for them, but that's not how I experience the sky. So that can be dismissed out of hand. The sky is blue to me. And so I don't need to spend a lot of time considering that idea. But then I might consider the idea, what is it within my companion on this plane of action that invites them to understand and see the sky as red? So deepening into not just that it's to me a demonstrably unverifiable idea. Like, I cannot demonstrate that the sky is red for myself, but what is it in them that invites them into that frame of mind? Without making them wrong. And that's the challenge that we have a lot of times, is that we want to make people wrong when we are thinking that we are right. So paradoxes exist. And I think finding comfort in the paradox sometimes is what is valuable in this thing called spiritual practice. And so I don't know how to resolve it, but maybe it's not for me to resolve. Maybe it's just an idea that I can open myself up to something new, a different idea. We are in a philosophy called New Thought. And the construct of New Thought is an invitation for us to have a new thought. As Charles Fillmore very famously said, I reserve the right to change my mind. I have a cat that has literally just jumped into my lap. So be willing, I think, to look at different ideas. That's what I'm going to do today. Be willing to look at different ideas. And that's the spiritual idea that I'm going to take into my prayer. If you are open to it, I invite you to close your eyes. If it's safe and comfortable, it is not a requirement. I invite you to close your eyes and just allow yourself to turn the attention, focused attention, to the inner life. That aspect of wholeness that is right where we are, each and every one of us. We are wholeness. And the wholeness of us is pure divinity. I hold firm in this resolve and this idea, for I know that there is only one infinite power and presence. This is what I hold firm in my own mind. There is only one power, one creative energy. And the paradox in this is a long-held holding on to an old idea that it is a being, but it is not a being. It is beingness. And so I release that which no longer works, and I open up to a greater understanding that God is energy. God is the energy that exists at the macrocosmic level and the microcosmic level. There is nothing that is not wholly divine. There is nothing that is not God. And so I recognize God in all I perceive, in every sense of perception and beyond. I choose to understand it as that which is beyond the sense of perception as well. For in the infinite nature, in its infinite nature, a limitation in mind does not limit the infinite. I trust and know too that we are, each and every one of us, this presence and power. We are the magnificence. We are God. For there can be no separation from the infinite. And so we are that which is. Every aspect of our being, every cell in our body, every atom, and every space between the aspects of every atom. Everything down to the subatomic that makes up the wholeness of each and every one of us is divine. And so with this in mind, I know that there is room for magnificent ideas and expression. And I choose in this moment to unlimit the mind. I choose to unlimit myself. I choose to release, let go, trust, and know that there are options available for all manner of expression, for God cannot be contained. And so that which is limiting falls away and opens up to the unlimited, more and more and more. I hold firm in this resolve, and I know that God is expressing itself in ways that seem paradoxical, but there is room for it all. And so I open up to listening. I open up to hearing. I open up to understanding. I open up to more infinite wisdom. I simply let this be as I relax in this moment and recognize and affirm that this word spoken is complete in the expression of it. And in its completeness, I recognize the gift. I recognize the gift that shows up in experience, and I am in eternal gratitude. I feel eternal gratitude, and I well up with appreciation in this moment. And so simply letting it be, I relax, trust and know, and affirm it by saying, and so it is. And so it is. Grateful, as always, to see you. Marvis, hello to you. Grateful to see you. Jerry, sunrise, sunset. Paradox, when we experience sunrise in another part of the world, it is sunset. They are one and the same. Yes, yes, yes. And how wonderful, Pat, to see you. Pat and Don, grateful to see you online. Peace and blessings to you all. I look forward to seeing you all again tomorrow morning, 8:30, right here. Wherever you're watching from, Facebook, YouTube, on our website. Always delighted to share this time with you. Peace and blessings to you. Be well. Bye.